We started Hospital Rooms after visiting a close friend who was sectioned, and it was our first time ever being in an inpatient mental health unit. And we were really surprised and a bit shocked at how cold and clinical the environment was. So we came up with the idea of putting together an art project where we got some of the best artists that we know or have worked with to make work for a unit for people with schizophrenia. We got quite a bit of attention and other units started being excited about that idea of working with us. So we set up a charity and it became Hospital Rooms.
When looking into the types of charities that were around, I came across Hospital Rooms, and they were so unique in the way that they used art to support some of the most vulnerable people in society.
We work in some of the most challenging clinical environments. People have really severe mental health diagnoses, and their experience can be fairly traumatic and distressing at that moment when they enter hospital. We feel like if we can make the spaces that they come into highly beautiful, highly visible, we can communicate that they are valued members of the community, that they will be treated with respect, and we can get that across sometimes when words just can't.
The mother and baby unit is the first of its kind in this part of the country, so the fact that we're getting to try this there, and the fact that everyone's been really forward-thinking and allowing us to bring artists who don't just make decorative work, they make, really thought-provoking, stimulating artworks for these kind of spaces is a really special project.
It's really exciting how the evidence around arts and mental health is becoming really robust, and how arts and culture integrated with a clinical approach can really support recovery in a really holistic way, and that's really exciting for us to be a part of and to contribute to.
So back in November, Neve contacted me asking if I would like to come on board and work with them for a project for this new mothers and babies psychiatric ward that's opening in Exeter. Yeah, it just sounded like a really fascinating project and completely different to anything that I've done before. As an artist, it's just so nice to be asked to make something that's in response to a particular place and situation, and to make an artwork that has to empathise the experiences that the women on that ward have gone through. I think it's a really important project.
For me, I was in hospital for quite a long time, like nearly 3 months. And for some people, they don't have a choice about whether they're in hospital or not, if they're sectioned like I was. So the hospital environment becomes your home for you and your family for 3 months of your life. So for me, anything that I could help contribute to make that environment a nice place for somebody felt like a really important thing to do. But actually just the process of the workshops and meeting Tim and Neve that run the charity, and having the artists put in all of the time, just sort of really validated for me the need as an individual to have a nice space to live in.
Did a really good workshop, really fun workshop with some of the service users and staff, a printmaking workshop with lots of colour, so a huge amount of work was generated. And there was a guy there who took part, who was absolutely brilliant at drawing. He produced a lot of work. His first drawing was an aircraft, which is a kind of back to front way of telling the story of the work, because he talked about his history. His father was an engineer, I think it was, and that he was taught to draw by his dad. So the staff and really got into the printmaking process and colour. We got a lot of work done, so I kind of came away with loads of ideas, but when I got back to the studio it seemed like another idea would be generated from the first, and it rolled over and over and over. And I realised that I got a print which I bought at a boot sale of a Spitfire on my wall in the hall, and it also keyed into the fact that I'd drawn this aircraft many times in a tailspin, which is kind of an important story for me as well. I took that print and repeated it and repeated it and repeated it. So that was a lovely development, just for the kind of trigger for the idea was from something that was produced on the day from the first visit.
The workshops that we did with mums who've used the mother and baby services were really wonderful, and I think having the artists spend so much time working on what they wanted to do and what they thought would be a meaningful and enjoyable workshop meant that once we turned up we had a really wide range of what people could take part in, and I think everyone got something out of that, probably especially the artists, and it really informed the artwork that's made for that unit.
I found walking around the Peaky for the first time really inspiring. I was so struck by the quality of the architectural vision of that ward.
I just want to make a piece of work that feels like breath, something that's about inhaling and exhaling, and something that's about flowing. I like the idea of people sitting in a room and sort of finding little bits within the image each time.
So I started with the oak tree and then worked out from there. There was quite a focus on acorns. Acorns are very kind of comforting images to me, the idea of the seed, what can grow from the seeds. One nice point was that there was a horseshoe, which was quite big and simplified, which you could see from across the courtyard in the dining room. So, you know, everyone could see it as a kind of symbol of luck, good luck. You know, I see it as quite a hopeful symbol.
The fact that sometimes having a mental illness can be quite isolating, but this felt really inclusive and welcoming. So there's like a basic level of the environment being nice, but on a higher level, just increasing that confidence that validates the fact that I have a right to want a nice space, and that it's important that people with mental health difficulties have outlets to be creative and make their environment nice.
What's also really nice about the project is we install the artwork while the unit is fully functioning. So artists and service users get to spend quite a lot of time together. And there's been some really nice moments where we are, for example, installing one of our large-scale prints that are really beautifully printed and have this really intricate detail, and service users will be totally enthralled by them and exploring every aspect to them and giving us their interpretations of them. And one person even said that he'd found a spot in the dining room where he had the best view of this particular print and would sit there every day. And there's lovely moments like that, conversations between artists and service users that just are really wonderful.